August 27, 2019 has come and gone, and you are considering booting up Remedy's latest title, Control. Well, let the Handsome Phantom help you make that decision by breaking down impressions of story, gameplay, environments, and performance in easy-to-digest chunks.
Did I lose you there for a moment? You know what's on my mind. You called me. So here I am.
Set in a supernatural world full of mystery, Control tells a story through seamlessly integrated full-motion videos, as well as a countless number of documents, audio tapes, and of course, in-game cutscenes.
There you are. You are here about the job. Janitor's assistant.
The story of Control is simultaneously its strong suit and weakest point.
Sounds like I touched a nerve.
Without revealing too much, at the beginning of the game, you as the player will very much feel like you're being thrown into a story that unfolded long before you arrived. While not quite as convoluted as the Soulspawn series game, you will ask yourself several times throughout the game, what's going on here?
It can be beautiful or terrible, but we're all transfixed.
Unfortunately, even though you can piece together a lot of the lore through optional items, the main story still remains shrouded in secrets by the time the credits roll. Remedy without a doubt went for the TV serial as opposed to feature film approach here, and will surely fill in the blanks with future updates or seasons.
I'm here. Why did you bring me here?
Although you will pick up on the occasional hints and nods to locations and events that may have occurred in other Remedy games, Control's story is meant to be experienced by itself. As of its initial release date, Control's story feels somewhat incomplete and underwhelming. So if you are looking for a fully fleshed out mystery story set in a mysterious dimension-shifting house, you are better off waiting for future updates, and meanwhile, read the book House of Leaves. You control Jesse Faden, the newly minted director of the Federal Bureau of Control, in third person. Thanks to some seemingly supernatural forces within Jesse, you are soon able to wield powers that only the bad guys of the game will attempt to match. As you further explore the world of Control, you can unlock and upgrade abilities as well as weapon types, some of them being completely optional to the game. We understand that Remedy tried to give a certain sense of freedom here, but in our experience, the first ability, Launch, especially in its upgraded form, is the dominant ability to be used throughout the game. On the plus side, unlike other games in the genre, Remedy does not force you to pick between which abilities you want to use. Instead, all abilities can be utilized simultaneously and seamlessly woven into the combat scenario. Remedy went for the monster closet approach here, and stealth is never an option, so be ready to move, fight, and survive. Should you get overwhelmed by the enemy, you can rest assured that the game saves every item picked up before your death. In truth, Control's combat doesn't offer you anything different than what you may have seen from the likes of BioShock or Mass Effect in the past. Nonetheless, the abilities and weapon types Remedy provides make for largely action-packed combat scenarios. To reach the credits of the game, Control guides you through a linear set of missions fairly quickly. Presumably, this is why Remedy thought it best to add optional side quests to Control, and if you're really interested, there are a seemingly endless supply of randomly generated combat scenarios peppered into the game. Both the side quests and random missions often just lead to upgrade material, and in some rare cases to new story bits that flesh out the world's circumstances slightly more. In general, we did not find it worth to complete any of the randomly generated missions. You will also likely never get stuck progressing if you decide to skip the optional side quests. Control's in-game objectives will guide you through the location called the Oldest House. In theory, Remedy had us fully convinced that we will see the most outlandish, even Lovecraftian-ish environments thanks to the trailers released prior to the game. In truth, the majority of the game is played in slightly mundane office and sterile lab environments. Fortunately, there are awe-inspiring standouts that leave us wondering why game designers are not fully embracing the truly weird. Similarly, enemies and boss design are an equal mix of mundane and awe-inspiring. various forms of possessed humans simply should not be the main enemy type in a game loaded with otherworldly mysteries. Despite some of its setting, Control is not a survivor horror game, but it's definitely designed to give you the creeps at times. The novelty somewhat wears off as you progressively meet more NPCs that are not taken over by the bad guys.
Bring me back anything good?
It is at that point that Control really becomes more of a psychological mystery action game rather than horror. While the promise of ever-shifting environments will somewhat go unfulfilled, the game still attempts to keep things fresh as long as you don't stray too much from the critical path. Which leads us to our most significant recommendation if you decide to play Control. Remedy certainly like to invoke Metroidvania-ish feelings by having you backtrack to older areas of the game to see what has changed and to see what has unlocked. While this approach can keep things fresh in other games, Remedy decided to pair it with some design choices we cannot in good conscience support. First and foremost, the in-game map is near useless to keep track of what areas of the game you wanted to go back to. Unlike games such as Resident Evil, you also do not see doors that are still locked and are forced to remember them by yourself. If you decide to go back to old areas of the game, let's say by the midpoint of the story, you will quickly realize that previously cleared areas will all of a sudden have new or optional lore items in them again. But most annoyingly is that we came across several areas where it simply wasn't clear if you could complete a puzzle at that time or if the game wanted you to come back to it later. It is a big spoiler to show more here, but take our advice, and in case you think you're stuck exploring outside of the main scenario, just move on. Explore old areas of the house once you reached endgame. We are happy to report that while running the PC version of Control, we did not notice any noteworthy bugs or poorly optimized performance. That said, the game will undoubtedly see multiple patches after release, either to get its console siblings up to speed or to fix performance disparities that can occur between different PC configurations. Unlike Remedy's Quantum Break, this title has seen several improvements that makes this game run smoothly on mid-range PCs. The Northlight engine used in Control also features ray tracing options. It's true that enabling the various ray tracing options will still require a powerful GPU on the level of Nvidia's 2070 Super or 2080 Ti. However, if you can, at least enable ray trace transparent reflections for a truly immersive experience. As shown here, seeing accurate reflections on glass surfaces rarely made us feel more present in an environment. Noticeably, as of the initial release date, we did not see any Nvidia optimized drivers for Control. So it is possible that performance will still increase with future optimization patches, similar to what we saw in Battlefield 5 for instance. Alright, you heard our impressions on story, gameplay, environments, and performance. Let us know if we convince you to try the game or let it rest until it's been out for a while. At this stage, we still have questions left about the future of Control, but are hoping for the best. You can also watch our scored review of Control, linked in the description of this video. And for more content like this, please subscribe to the channel.